Tonight, the city attempts to increase business downtown. Stay tuned for TrojanVision Nightly News starts now.
From the high-definition digital production center on the Troy campus, with news from Troy University locations around the world, this is Troy TrojanVision Nightly News.
Hello and welcome to Troy TrojanVision Nightly News for June 18th, 2013. I'm Judson Garner. Thanks for joining us this evening. Troy residents and city officials met this morning to discuss a project that the city hopes will increase revenue for its businesses by increasing the dimensions of its sidewalks. Creating a more people-friendly environment and increasing business downtown is the goal for the future cosmetic renovations planned for the sidewalks from South Brundage Street all the way to College Drive.
There's a lot of students on Elm Street. We'll get out there and walk a little bit more. So it just spawns a little bit more activity, a little bit more interest.
The maximum amount of money the project could receive from the federal government is $400,000. In addition, the city is required to front a fourth of that. So right off the bat, the project could cost up to $500,000. Now, sidewalk transformation may not be as hot of a topic this summer as probably the summer heat.
You wouldn't think there would be so much interest in sidewalks, but a lot of the time there's more interest in sidewalks like this than if you just paving a street.
And busier sidewalks could mean more to a community than just looks.
When you create those type of environments, your crime rates go down, you have a healthier community, it boosts economic development. I think it will really help this community.
And the city plans to send its grant proposal for the sidewalk project by the end of the month. Well, Dr. Seuss said a person's a person no matter how small, and the same applies to art. The exhibit right now at the Johnson Center is full of miniature pieces. Felicia Payne tells us more.
When you first walk into the Johnson Center for the Arts, you might miss the main attraction if you don't look carefully. One of the exhibits currently on display is an exhibit that's all about the little things.
We have in our upstairs gallery is titled Nicola Gonzale, Language Symbol Artifact. Nicola Gonzale is a New York-based contemporary artist who really enjoys finding unique everyday items and making them beautiful.
Some of the pieces in the exhibit are small items that can be found at home, and Gonzale has added gold leafing and border or paint to bring the pieces to life. These pieces are contemporary, but Drinkard invites everyone to come and see them.
I would invite everyone to come see this exhibition. We feel really honored to have this type of work in our gallery. It's very contemporary, something maybe if you stay in the South a lot that you don't see very often. And so we have the opportunity to take artwork that's displayed in New York galleries and bring it to Troy, Alabama.
And while the pieces may be small, there are plenty of them to look at and still plenty of time to go and see them for yourself.
The exhibit is on display now until July 27th, and we are open Wednesday through Friday from 10 o'clock until 5 o'clock, and on Saturday from 10 o'clock until 3 o'clock, and admission is free of charge.
Felicia Payne, Troy, TrojanVision News.
And an opening reception for the exhibit will be this Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Johnson Center. And now taking a look at news from around the state. In Clay, their mayor says that city officials will reconsider a ban on pit bulls after dozens of pet owners and animal advocates showed up at a city council meeting to protest the decision. The Clay County City Council had approved the pit bull ban 2 weeks ago, but animal advocates say the pit bull should have been given more warning about the new ordinance. In Mobile, the Carnival Corporation has filed a lawsuit seeking more than $12 million in damage. Its cruise ship Triumph sustained in an early April windstorm. The company filed a lawsuit last week and argues mooring equipment being used by Abase Systems was defective. The ship broke free of its mooring during a storm that packed winds of over 60 miles per hour and killed a dock worker. And in Tuscaloosa, the City Board of Education is set to vote on a new school guest and volunteer policy that would require visitors at Tuscaloosa City Schools to undergo a sex offender registry check. The proposal is up for vote today and would also require that some volunteers be subject to a full criminal background check. And still to come on TrojanVision Nightly News, while they may not have officially beat Trojans anymore, 3 former Troy players made a big impact this past week in their minor league debuts. Justin McNelly will give you the details coming up in sports.
The NSA director tells Congress secret surveillance programs are helping foil terrorist plots. I'm Tara Mergener on Capitol Hill with the latest coming up.
Today is Saturday.
60 minutes of physical activity a day and eating well can help get your child healthy. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov. That's letsmove.gov.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Let's switch to Energy Star light bulbs and stop burning through cash. Saving energy saves you money.
Troy University is Alabama's international university, and Troy TrojanVision brings the world to Alabama with TrojanVision Worldview, a globe-spanning lineup of programs with news, features, and culture. European Journal is the latest news from within the European Union. Global 3000 is a magazine program with thought-provoking features from every corner of the globe. And Arts 21 has stories of arts, artists, and cultural artifacts from the old and new world. Travel the globe from the comfort of home with Troy TrojanVision Worldview, Wednesday and Saturday nights, right here on TrojanVision.
From the high-definition digital production studios of Troy University, you're watching the award-winning Troy TrojanVision Nightly News.
It's their job to keep secrets, but today the leaders of several U.S. intelligence agencies came to Capitol Hill to offer more details about secret government surveillance. Both the NSA and FBI told lawmakers the programs have foiled terrorist plots. Tara Mergener has more from Capitol Hill.
The National Security Agency director returned to Capitol Hill to shed some light on 2 previously secret surveillance programs.
I would much rather be here today debating this point than trying to explain how we failed to prevent another 9/11.
Army General Keith Alexander testified recently disclosed programs that collect phone records and monitor internet activity have helped thwart more than 50 potential terrorist attacks. The deputy FBI director elaborated on a handful of them.
We found through electronic surveillance that they were actually in the initial stages of plotting to bomb the New York Stock Exchange.
The former NSA contractor who exposed the surveillance programs has accused the administration and Congress of exaggerating their effectiveness. But officials told lawmakers Edward Snowden's leaks have made the country less safe.
I think it was irreversible and significant damage to this nation.
Has this helped America's enemies?
I believe it has, and I believe it will hurt us and our allies.
President Obama gave his own defense of the surveillance in an interview with CBS This Morning's Charlie Rose.
If you're a U.S. person, then NSA is not listening to your phone calls, and it's not targeting your emails unless it's getting an individualized court order.
The NSA says no Americans have been the target of the surveillance programs. Tara Mergener for CBS News, Capitol Hill.
President Obama spent a second day with world leaders at the G8 summit in Northern Ireland. Corporate tax evasions was on the agenda, but the deadly conflict in Syria dominated discussions. Lucy McDonald reports from London.
G8 leaders from some of the world's wealthiest countries stood united in this photo at their summit in Northern Ireland. But behind the scenes, they spent hours arguing about how to end the 2-year civil war in Syria. After 2 days of wrangling, they finally reached an agreement on a political solution.
We all share a vital interest in bringing this conflict to an end and helping the Syrian people to achieve the change they want.
Leaders said both sides should allow UN inspectors to investigate reports of chemical weapons being used in the conflict. Countries pledged an additional $1.5 billion in aid to ease the humanitarian crisis. But the long-awaited peace conference in Geneva may be delayed until August. Syria's biggest ally, Russia, clashed with America about whether Syrian President Bashar Assad could play a part in the country's future. President Obama and other Western leaders say removing Assad is the only hope for peace. But Russian President Vladimir Putin says his country will continue to supply weapons to Assad's army and urges the West to think 3 or 4 times before arming rebel forces. While Syria overshadowed the summit, heads of state also tackled tax, trade and transparency. The US promised a new crackdown on multinational companies that avoid paying taxes. Lucy McDonald for CBS News.
A large new national study suggests there is a link between exposure to air pollution during pregnancy and autism. Adriana Diaz has more on the findings.
Glennie Duran wants to know why her 8-year-old son Angel has autism.
It's something that I'm eating. Is it the air? Is it genetic?
Doctors don't know exactly what causes the neurological disorder, but now more research points to the environment playing a role. In the first national study of its kind, researchers from the Harvard School of Public Health looked at 25,000 women and found those exposed to high levels of air pollution while pregnant were twice as likely to have a child with autism.
We need to be very concerned about levels of air pollution in our environment, and we need to do everything that we can to reduce ambient air pollution exposures.
Exposure to diesel, lead, and other pollutants are known to affect a baby's brain development. 1 in 88 children has autism in the United States. Experts say the findings don't mean pollution causes autism, but it may be another risk factor.
One of many different risk factors, both genetic and environmental. And what we really need to better understand is how these many risk factors, how they interact together.
Glennie lives in Manhattan and says she's concerned about the air quality.
It's full of pollution, so it's definitely something that's going to be in our mind.
But she says the city also offers so many programs for children with special needs, so moving really isn't an option. Adriana Diaz, CBS News, New York.
And now Justin McNally joins us for a look at sports. So, Justin, they were recent Troy players, but now they're former Troy players. They saw some success this past weekend.
So, actually 3 of Troy's finest from this past baseball season. Got a little bit of action in their minor league games this past weekend and even yesterday, but I'll get to those details coming up in sports.
Okay.
While it may not be the big leagues just yet, the Trojan draftees in the 2013 MLB first-year draft made quite an impression last night. Starting with the Pirates' 13th-round pick, Danny Collins. In his first at-bat for the Jamestown Jammers, Collins picked up where he left off at Troy and sent the pitch into the stands in left center field. I would say that is a way to make an impression. Collins finished 2 for 4 for the game as the Jammers would go on to win 5-0. Former Trojan third baseman Logan Pierce also made his debut for the Williamsport Crosscutters, a minor league affiliate of the Phillies. Pierce, who transitioned back to first for the Crosscutters, started his career off going 2 for 4 with 2 singles and a run. And the final piece of the Trojan trio puzzle is Eugene Emerald's first baseman, Trey Santos. Santos has had a couple more games under his belt than his other former teammates, but the success is still there. In a Sunday game against the Boise Hawks, Santos was 2 for 4 from the plate with an RBI double. The success did not carry over last night as Santos finished that game 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts.